Thomas, we just opened day one and we're very excited. And our opening keynote is Mr. Wayne Borg, who's Managing Director, Media, Entertainment, Culture and Fashion Industries at Neom. Neom this year is our main partner. It's maybe the most exciting project happening in the region.
Hugely.
And in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And we're very happy to welcome Wayne, who is in Australia. And it's just the afternoon for him and the morning for us. Thank you very much, Wayne, for being with us. I know that you are very busy and you are taking the time to join the gaming industry and DGC Live. And we thank you for that. You will be presenting and the topic is going to be around building the ecosystem and the role of Neom to become the center of the MENA region's gaming industry, which is something that we actually hope and we would like to see. And we think that this is amazing how today our industry is taking a mainstream positioning in many of the key countries in our region.
Yeah, it's going to be huge.
So,
fantastic.
Wayne, we would like just briefly to know more about you, to know more about Neom, and to know more about Neom's role in general, not only in gaming, but as in the whole ecosystem, in the whole region as well.
Thanks, gentlemen, and we're really pleased to be a part of DGC and to be participating with you and supporting this great event, because I think it's critical to the development of the gaming industry in the region. I've spent over 20 years in leadership roles across the media and entertainment industries across the world, from Australia to the UK, the US, and in the Middle East. I was most recently president and general manager of Fox Studios in LA, but I've worked with Universal and Warner Brothers, as well as in the region in Abu Dhabi at the Media Zone Authority. So I have a very good understanding of how the industry works in the region and the opportunities it presents. For us, Neom, and my role at Neom is really about how we're going to establish the media, the cultural and entertainment and fashion industries, if you want to call them the creative industries, in a sustainable way as part of Neom's broader ambitions. And I'd love today to sort of share with you, our plans at Neom, not only for Neom, but also the gaming sector specifically. So what is Neom? Neom is very much the land of the future. It's going to redefine the way people work, play, and live. It's going to be an accelerator for human progress. Where innovation, entrepreneurs, businesses, and leaders, as well as the companies, will come together, to research, incubate, and commercialize, new technologies, enterprises, in groundbreaking ways that have never been seen before. We're located, for those who don't know, Neom's located on the northwest coast of the kingdom. We're situated about 8 hours from, about 70% of the world's population. We cover an area of some 26,000 square meters. That's about 35 times the size of Singapore, to put it in some context. It's a tremendous, natural environment, that has such a beautiful, climate, and some stunning terrain. And Neom will be truly a new jurisdiction. It'll be a new concept entirely, unlike anything else in the world, and it'll be the first of its kind, in terms of how it makes a positive contribution, to humanity and the future of humanity. It does present an opportunity to, represent and redefine the future now in the present. A modern progressive economy that sets trends and leads the way, in the world in across many sectors. We'll look to leapfrog a generation and to imagine the future, and what it will look like, 20, 30 years, and build that today. That's the opportunity. That's our challenge. The residents of Neom, they'll enjoy, a vibrant, life that, again, will be something that they'll never experience in any other part of the world. It'll be an international community, and it'll be welcome, leading active lifestyles, and be close proximity to nature and many open spaces. From a media industry perspective, Neom's focus on the core areas that are the engine rooms, I suppose, of the sector today. Being screen production from small mobile devices through to the big screen, gaming, digital publishing, two other critical areas, and that will be everything from mobile, online, as well as console gaming. So for us, Neom is about how, from a media and creative industries perspective, how we develop that fully integrated creative industries hub, bring together not only media and entertainment, but also culture and fashion. Something that's never been achieved before in this sort of converged world that is the creative industries. So what is our vision? Our vision is to become the regional centre for the gaming industry in Mena, by creating and fostering a flourishing, legacy-free environment, for the gaming ecosystem. We don't harbour ambitions just to be solely the best. I think that's an unrealistic view. What we want to be is part of the global industry that exists today, and really sort of be part of that elite network of global hubs, and become synonymous with gaming in the Arab world. And I suppose the question is, why gaming? I sort of touched on it earlier, that gaming is one of our focuses and our priorities. And we've identified gaming as a priority sector within the wider media and the creative industries plan, along screen production and digital publishing, as I mentioned. These are important for Neom because they're a powerful force in the economies and societies. They deliver growth, jobs and skills, and in many ways, they protect against AI and digitization when it comes to sort of the workforces of the future. The creative industries is a creative and powerful sector globally. It's an important contributor to GDP for many economies. And if you look at the size of the industry overall, PwC estimate that by 2021, the sector is going to be worth some $2.1 trillion. So it's an incredibly powerful industry collectively. In our region, the creative industries contribute less than 1% to GDP. And to me, that's a significant underperformance. We should be doing much better when you look at the demographics of the region and the overall population of the region. When you compare this to some of the powerhouses in the creative industry sector, such as the UK, Germany, Japan, Korea, they're all contributing around 4% to GDP. And Korea and South Korea in particular, who've really focused on the creative industries as a core constituent of their economic plan, they're contributing nearly 5%. And I don't think there's any reason why Saudi and the Kingdom, and for the region for that matter, shouldn't be performing at a much better rate of contribution than it currently does today. And for us, a lot of that growth is going to be driven by the gaming industry, and that's what's exciting. Like elsewhere in the world, gaming presents a huge opportunity. We're seeing in the Middle East and Africa, the MENA region represents some 22 countries, and we've got a population of just over 430 million. And when you compare that to the US, which has a population of 327 million, and our demographic, that young profile, with 17% between the age of 15 and 24, this is an incredibly powerful demographic that aligns to the gaming industry. The region spends heavily on gaming. We're one of the most highest per capita anywhere in the world, with over half of the region's 360 million gamers paying to play, and that shouldn't be underestimated. So the industry is worth some $5 billion, and it's forecast to grow in double-digit terms over the next couple of years. But despite this market opportunity, there's still no AAA games being developed in the region. And the vast majority of that $5 billion leaves the region. And that's something we want to address. And why is that happening? Yes, there is, some elements of the gaming industry today in the region, but it's highly fragmented. And it's been attempted a number of times now to try and establish that ecosystem, but it hasn't really eventuated. I think in large part it's down to the fact that there's been an inability to develop that fully integrated hub, which is what we sort of see as critical to future success. The industry's infrastructure isn't sufficient today, to really drive the talent and give them access to the opportunities. And that's what we're looking to address. Raising finance for the gaming industry has been difficult in the region. I think a lot of people don't really understand the power of the sector and its investment potential. And there's also been legacy issues around IP as well as IP rights, and that I think has also contributed to investor or the lack of investor confidence. Setting up companies hasn't always been a simple and easy process. And what it's resulted in is, in a lot of instances, you've got many of the international companies choosing to operate remotely and focus their money, time, and energy on marketing and localization rather than genuine, game creation and cultural, development of games from the region. So, what is going to be our value proposition at Neom? For us, we believe we're going to be uniquely positioned to become the region's first true gaming industry hub. We've spent a considerable amount of time engaging with the industry to fully understand the issues and help shape our value proposition, which really has 4 key pillars. Firstly, it's about infrastructure, as I briefly touched on. The gaming industry requires data centers, high connectivity, low latency, flexible and affordable office space. We need incentives. If we're going to compete internationally, incentives are a critical component of game production. And we need clear, defined and game-specific incentives to promote game development and high value-added activities at Neom. In addition, we need funding to assist startups and mentorship, as well as access to talent. And talent development is a really important component of our plan. Gaming specific courses with curriculum shaped to industry needs that links to industry and creates those pathways for that emerging talent pool, and how we integrate both into the converged world that we're moving into and provide those career pathways as well as a sustainable workforce for industry. And I think the final component, again, something I touched on earlier, is about that ease of doing business. We need to be attractive to industry, as well as helping startups, help facilitate their development and initiating their business plans in a well oiled and cohesive manner. And that'll also help, facilitate talent. It'll facilitate industry and hopefully bring together all those key ingredients that we need to really sort of drive the sector forward. For us, enablers are going to be critical to the development of our ecosystem when it comes to gaming. We've identified a number of critical enablers. They're going to help us establish that unparalleled environment for the gaming industry. Firstly, we need that legacy-free environment, that's going to be supported by leading-edge policy and world-class legal and regulatory framework. That's going to be critical. Partnerships with the world's top educational institutions, be it vocational, creative or technical, that's going to focus very much on gaming-specific training that will help us develop an abundant workforce of talented young developers that's going to be required by industry, as well as not only being business ready for those companies, but help define pathways for the talent and give them confidence that if they enter the industry, they're going to be well trained and there's going to be industry jobs for them to pursue on an ongoing basis. State-of-the-art infrastructure, I suppose, goes without saying, but as much as people talk about it, it's very hard to achieve. And I think that's going to be one of the opportunities we have without legacy, is to really sort of develop that true state-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology-based infrastructure in a collaborative and cohesive tech-enabled environment. Strategic financing, I touched on briefly earlier, is going to be critical, as well as gaming-specific incentives. And how we facilitate that to ensure the formation and the continued development of a thriving, cohesive ecosystem is going to be critical. Yes, we need to attract those world-class partners and operators to fuel that ecosystem and fast-track the development of the industry within the Neom Media Hub. But we're also looking to drive, the local gaming industry and identify that young talent, because over time, we expect to have some 400 independent businesses across the film and television, gaming and digital publishing sector situated within the hub at Neom. And many of those will come from the region and indeed in time internationally. But if we're going to have a true sustainable ecosystem and hub, we need to generate those businesses and talent from within the local environment, from within the kingdom particularly, and the GCC. So gaming infrastructure, it's important we look at gaming and how we consider, its place within the broader media industry, particularly given the increased convergence we're seeing across the sectors, as we're seeing now with gaming, television and film production, and how a lot of that technology is, converging. Both in terms of its application, but also, consumer use. When you look at our gaming hub, we see immersive gaming as a big sort of step, forward, and a big opportunity in the future. Self-publishing is obviously a critical component, and there's an incredible amount of that happening within the region. Content creation spaces, motion capture, games development studios, specialized gaming academy, gaming incubators, accelerators, VFX and animation studios are all going to be critical components of our infrastructure. What will be unique is all our facilities will be fully integrated. For example, the learning spaces will be linked with production facilities so students can learn in real life scenarios, while the development challenges can be pushed into the learning facilities and incubated to see if solutions can be provided for industry as part of sort of the students' learning programs. But we're looking at, from an integration perspective, it's not just about the wider media industry and content creation, but it's also the consumers of that content. For example, Neom will be a regional hub and gateway for the emerging Middle East esports market. That means a yearly action-packed event calendar offering content opportunities to different communities and skill levels, from grassroots to professional leagues in the esport ecosystem. Opportunities will exist in the development and implementation of technology to enhance the experience of viewers and participants, as well as the ambition to develop esports athletes and a workforce talent through the Neom Esports Academy and education programs. Our entertainment venues and cultural offering will also dovetail nicely into the gaming industry. Neom will bring together the creative minds and the entertainment industries to develop rich, unique and immersive content that's engaging by way of its experiences, and that will harness that convergence between technology and content creation in a creative, tech-enabled, collaborative environment. So we'll deliver content for our audiences that will be unique, while developing IP that will form a new export industry for Neom. I can't reel too much at this stage because of commercial sensitivities, but we're spearheading a video game themed immersive attraction that will push the boundaries of what consumers will ever experience anywhere in the world today. It will be a truly unique, innovative concept, and it will push not only the boundary of the gaming industry, both from a concept, but also from an experiential perspective. And I think will typify many of Neom's initiatives moving forward. So whilst none of this is going to happen overnight, we're already well progressed. Neom is not just a vision. We're well on our way. We've got over 500 people working in Neom, the best of talent from the kingdom as well as internationally. Our engagement with the gaming industry is well advanced. We started over 18 months ago, and in that time we've developed and refined our strategy and mapped out our requirements. We're well advanced in our talks with several regional and international partners who are keen to start and be part of our project at Neom. From the very beginning, we've seen, people, connecting with the vision and understanding the potential and the opportunity that the region represents from a gaming perspective. And we want to be able to facilitate and harness that for the youth of the region and create a truly dynamic hub that we can retain that talent and help spawn and flourish a dynamic and sustainable gaming sector for the Middle East. Thank you.
Wayne, Thomas, I'm sure you have some questions for Wayne, but I just want to say one thing. I love our region because it gives us the ability to dream. It really gives us the ability. I'm listening to Wayne and I'm just dreaming, and I'm saying to myself, I'm in my 40s, but I'm going to be able to live something new and a new dream And it's really exciting how our region is able to do this. Really, it's just incredible.
Yeah, you started off that keynote and you said, what is Neom? And now I'm asking myself, what isn't Neom, to be honest with you? But just with regards to kind of the gaming industry, why do you think, given the fact that this region is so full of opportunities, why do you think it's been so slow developing?
That's a really good question. I think, I don't think it's really down to one reason. I think it's been a number of factors. Several jurisdictions have tried it. I think, one of the points I touched on, what we've identified is that truly integrated hub. I think we've lacked that in the region and that holistic approach. And that's something we're working, and focus very much on developing. And certainly, from our conversations with industry and what I've described in terms of mapping out our plans, that's been, identified as a key enabler by industry. And I think, just having a marketplace, I think often people, see the region and because we are, we have a large consumption of games and a large engagement with the sector from a consumer perspective, that's not enough. It's certainly a great start point. But, that's really only touching the surface of the opportunity. And I think in part it's about how we develop the talent and provide those pathways, for, young aspiring developers. There haven't been the natural, destinations for that talent to land, be mentored, be trained, to engage with industry. It's been a fragmented approach, and that's what we're looking to address at Neom through our media and gaming initiatives. Historically, I think the creative industries and within that gaming has sort of been seen as a frivolous career. It's something you wouldn't take seriously, but clearly, as I described earlier, from an economic standpoint, many of the advanced economies around the world are recognizing the power of the sector and what it does. Not only the power of creativity to society and the economy, but its economic contribution. So, I think with the talent pool that we have, that I think there's great opportunity to harness here right across the region, but we just have to provide the platforms, the infrastructure and the support, to able to ignite that potential. And that's what we're looking to do.
So obviously, kind of one of the things that I think that we're going to experience over the next couple of days is a lot of people outside the gaming industry see coders who make the game and then consumers who purchase the game. But obviously there's a lot more around that. Marketing, logistics, distribution, the people who make the coffee for the people who code. It's a huge ecosystem. Is there anything that kind of Neom is doing to, I guess, build that?
Yeah, I think, to what I described in my talk earlier, it really is about bringing together all the components of the industry. It's established, players. It's about developing and attracting the startups. It's about the incubation and innovation space, as well as the learning and training components. That is the full ecosystem. And then it's about how you integrate all of that, because it's through that collaboration, as you all well know, that that this industry flourishes. It's not about just communication via email. It is that collaboration that sparks the innovation, that sparks the great ideas and the creativity. And I think that's something that the regions sadly lacked, and we're looking to address and fill that gap. And because we don't have the legacy issues, we can design this from scratch, and design it fit for purpose. And critically, I talked at the very beginning about Neom being the future. Our challenge today is anticipating the future, anticipating the technologies, the consumer trends, how industry is going to develop its content, and how those consumers are going to engage and interact with it, and how that content is going to be monetized. And that's what we're really looking to understand today and anticipate, as we design and develop this ecosystem to attract all the constituent stakeholders across the sector.
Of course.
So this region is this region has no shortage of hope, of dreamers. But I think one of the key reasons why the game industry hasn't developed so much is all down to talent and local talent. Is there anything that Neom is doing in particular to help create that talent?
Well, absolutely. Look, industry learning is a core proposition for Neom. So, part of what we're looking to do is start to develop that talent pipeline. Okay, and not everybody wants to be create their own business and be a games developer. Some want to be coders. Some want to be part of the creative elements of the process. And to your point, some want to do marketing and distribution. So what we're looking to do is, as we're attracting industry to Neom and understanding their needs, aligning with, the leaders in games education from all over the world, and develop programs that we can start to offer, the talent from the kingdom and from the broader Mena region, in the near future, to start to establish that pipeline. So as we become active in an operational sense, industry is going to have confidence, the talent's going to have confidence, and we'll start to form that sustainable ecosystem that is so critical.
On that last point, Wayne, education is definitely key, and we are seeing actually a high demand for talents in the gaming industry with a very low supply. And I think it's the only industry today that has this
disconnect.
Yes, exactly.
This inverse relationship.
And education is key as well in order for us to not only grow our gaming industry from the 3 or 4 billion where it is now, $1 billion, to 10, but also to be able to tap into the $140 billion of the gaming industry globally. Because we can have also, this is the barrier we need to cross, I believe, and talent and education is very important to reach that.
You're spot on, and again, something I touched on earlier is how do we retain that? It's not only about developing the talent, but how we retain that talent within the region and within Neom. This is about creating not only great opportunities for the talent of the region, but economic activity and to become, for Neom to become that economic powerhouse within the creative industry, so that we're exporting that content. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to have a dynamic creative industry space, that's creating IP to the rest of the world. And that's our ambition, is to create the right infrastructure to support that.
Yes, and there is no reason also for many of the talents that we will see during these 3 days that are making it outside of the region to come.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's one of my questions is, when can people start getting involved with Neom? When can they start enrolling in training? When can companies start to tell you they're interested in being a part of Neom?
As of now, so companies who are interested, who are listening and have dialed in and zoomed in today, we'd love to talk to you. Because we're going now. As I said, Neom isn't just a vision on paper. We're a reality, and we're looking to engage with industry, particularly from the region. We want to hear your ideas. We want to hear the challenges, and we want to share with you how we believe we can address those and support you and facilitate your success. Similarly, with international groups, that are recognizing the opportunity and what I've described is resonating with them, please reach out. And for talent, we're developing a number of pilot programs right now, which should be coming online in the back half of the year. And through those, I think we'll start to see our first graduates getting ready for the industry we're going to be attracting in the next couple of years.
And about connecting with you, as you know, Wayne, we have our B2B meeting platform running for the 3 days during the conference, 24 hours, catering for the different time zones, even Australia. So I'm sure that many are going to request meetings with your team and with Neom. and also take a look at what's happening on your profile and schedule the Zoom meetings during the next 3 days. So Wayne, we thank you very much for this opening keynote of DGC, and you made us dream, and I'm sure our viewers as well, and we are all looking forward to be part of Neom, and because it's our future as well, and we just think that it can open and accelerate everything that is happening today in the gaming industry in our region, and give it our own identity as well, which is very important.
Exactly. No, look, it's been a great pleasure, and I thank you for the opportunity, and I look forward to to connecting with you further, and to many of your viewers and participants.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Wayne.